So this is a slide I had in my opening remarks when we started Symposium out, and as I said, it came from a review that we did of the NIDRD program in 2015, and it projects this notion of the expanding circle of computing, starting with core computing, connecting it to people in the physical world, and then eventually projecting that into societal needs, national priorities. I hope that this symposium gave you a picture or an overview of what some of those potential impacts could be. I hope that you got a chance to learn things that you didn't know before. You got a chance to talk to people you didn't talk to before. And I think most importantly, I hope it started to give you a perspective that I think as a field we need to think about how we are evolving and how we're going to actually sustain that evolution through the next decades to come. The field, as we just said, as it grows, it's going to infiltrate many other areas. It's going to require new models for collaboration. It's going to require new models for funding. It's going to require new models for us as academics to advance our academic disciplines. And so I would invite all of you to continue to bring that discussion home and to talk about it with your colleagues and kind of start to think about what that future could be. I will say that if you have not been deeply involved in these sorts of activities before, I want to highlight a few upcoming activities of the CCC that you may be interested in. We are sponsoring a workshop called Artificial Intelligence for the Social Good together with OSTP and AAAI next month. That's an open workshop. There's a web page. You can register. It's here in DC, and I think it'll be a really interesting conversation, again, about an area that's just really blossomed in the last 2 or 3 years. It's now very much in the public eye, and I think it's important that we have an ongoing conversation, again, about where that field goes and what sorts of opportunities exist there. The CRA hosts a Congressional Visit Day in the fall. So if you would like to get more involved in talking to the people who actually make the decisions and control the dollars, this is your chance. You can come in. We will, that is to say the CRA, will arrange visits to your congressional delegation, but before that they'll school you up a little bit about what to say and how to say it and what these people think about and how the process works. I've done it. It's a really great experience. CRA, together with CCC, runs the Leadership in Science Policy Institute. The next one will be spring of 2017. It's a bit more of a deep dive in how science policy is made with a number of speakers who come in and talk about the mechanics of that. And also there's a spring meeting, Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Work, in spring 2017. Which you may also kind of be interested in participating in based on some of the conversations yesterday. And lastly, I'll point out that if you subscribe to the CCC blog, you find out about all this stuff without having to have me talk at you at the end of the day. So you should definitely subscribe to the blog. We'll let you know about things that are coming up as they happen. So finally, I think it's, as usual, important to acknowledge the fact that this has been, I think, of the CCC efforts in the last few months, this has certainly been one of the largest and most complex to put together. I already pointed out that there is a number of co-conspirators from the CCC who you saw throughout the last 2 days, who put the sessions together, chaired the sessions, invited the speakers, coached people, really put together an amazing intellectual program. So first, I'd just like to thank my colleagues for doing all of that. If you hadn't noticed, we had a pretty cushy time. There was nice food to eat. There were signs that told you where to go, people to help you if you had any issues. And so I want to acknowledge our support staff, Sandra Corbett and Sabrina Jacob, who were out at the registration desk, but also making sure behind the scenes that everything happened. I also want to thank Helen Wright and Kyrie Douglas, who were instrumental throughout this in making sure that the programs got put together, that emails got answered, that registrations happened, hotels, and so on and so forth. So I want, again, to give them a hand for all that behind the scenes. And And then last but certainly not least, I want to acknowledge Ann Drobness, the Executive Director of the CCC. You know, when somebody comes to you with this crazy idea that you're going to host a 2-day workshop that's going to span a broad set of topics, and it's going to be uncomfortable because you're not going to just invite your friends, but you've got to go find these people you've never met and bring them in. The fact that she's willing to go with it, that she managed to find the venue, put this together, and just really support and organize this entire event, it's just an incredible amount of work, and I just truly appreciate all of the efforts you made, and thank you very much for all of this. And last but not least, I want to thank all of you. I know it's, you know, once again, it's a trip somewhere, and you made the time to come here to listen to talks, again, that were probably a bit outside your comfort zone. And so I really appreciate all of you for your interest, for your willingness to be involved, and I look forward to hopefully meeting many of you in future events. Thank you all.